Okay, and let's take a look at the agenda quickly. Let me share screen and bring up the agenda. Well, let's see. I'm trying to find the agenda in this welter of stuff
can
I
see
have.
it.
Okay, yeah, I know you can see it, but I couldn't. All right, fine. We will do introductions from board members and then from residents and other visitors who are present. We have a special guest, Corky Hammond, who's already with us now for our Exploring Brentwood Darlington. I'm going to give a brief presentation on the Francis Center, which is a food and clothing pantry here in Brentwood Darlington. We have actually 3 announcements of public interest, adding the Harney Park update to our Greenways and Sidewalks and Soak It Week. If we have anyone here from Black Futures Farm and Master Gardeners, then we'll invite them to say a few words. Then we go into our board meeting. We have minutes and treasurer's report to approve. I'm going to briefly tell you about our plans for budgeting and strategic planning. We need to approve our participation in the Sparrowhawk fundraiser in October, and we'll talk about volunteer needs. Gail, if you could read off our considerable list of tablers, that would be great for movies in the park. And I went down.
Oh, wait,
It's in the agenda. I'll just bring up the agenda.
Oh, okay.
And you can just read it off.
Okay.
And I just want to give an update on the artisan market, which is going to happen on July 15th. They've got their insurance, and we asked the organizer to fill out the forms that we devised for this kind of situation, and she has very willingly complied. If we have time, and I hope we will, we'll hear from Kim DeLeo about the most recent board meeting. Okay, Kim, yes, you have a question.
Hi, so I missed the June meeting. I was sick,
Oh, sorry.
unexpectedly got COVID.
No.
Yep, no idea how. I wear my mask everywhere still. No one I know has it. So anyway, that's what happened. But
Oh, I'm so sorry. How are you feeling?
oh, I feel fine. I got on the Paxlovid right away too, because not taking any chances with that. But it definitely took me out for a couple of weeks, but I'm feeling fine now. And
okay.
then we don't have a meeting in July. July is an off month, but I just wanted to throw that out there.
Oh, okay, very fine. All right, thanks for
Okay.
telling us. Then we won't do that. We won't hear about the June meeting. And then finally, we need to talk about our schedule of meetings for the remainder of the year. And then we have a couple of points of other business that I want to bring up. All right, so let's stop. Well, before I stop screen sharing here, why don't we hear from our board members, please? Laura Lee, will you introduce yourself? Name your position and your primary motivation for serving on the board.
Hi, I was trying to find the video here I am. Hi, I'm Laura Lee Cole. I have lived in Brentwood Darlington for 10 years now. I joined the board to get more involved in community activities and to see, it was 7 years after I moved to Brentwood Darlington before I joined the board. And I am secretary. And what motivates me is seeing all the changes that are happening in our neighborhood. And also, I am very impressed with all of the stuff that Stephanie puts together for our board meetings every month. And I just am learning more and more information. So that's me.
Well, okay, thank you, Laura Lee. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate the work that you contribute to the board and your spirit of cooperation and support. So that's great. Derek Covey's not here. Kim, would you introduce yourself?
Okay, sorry, I was trying to figure out the camera. I second all of the positive things that Laura Lee said. My name is Kim DeLeo. I'm on the board. I've been on the board for a couple of years now. And what motivates me, wanting to be more involved in the community, but I definitely agree that I have learned a ton just by being on the board and just participating. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Stephanie.
Oh, good. Okay, well, thank you very much, Kim. All right, Pam, our treasurer.
Hello, Pam Hodge, and as Stephanie indicated, I'm currently serving as the treasurer and have occupied that role since last fall, but I've served, I think, for on the board since 2018 with a one-year break during the pandemic and have been involved in a variety of issues. The one I think that is closest to my heart right now is working to revitalize the Brentwood Darlington Community Center and just increase community resiliency. So that's me.
Oh, thank you very much, Pam. And you're doing a fabulous job on the BDCC. I really appreciate your contributions. Okay, so who's next? Gail, let's hear from Gail.
Stephanie is my lifesaver.
Oh, am I? Why?
My position is sitting and I've been a member for decades, and we're gonna have a movie in a couple of weeks, and everybody has to come, even if you don't stay for the movie, because it might be your only chance to see me play in the band.
Yes, we have a marching band, which will not march, but it will play.
We will.
And Gail cannot table because she's going to be in the band. And she might come by for a moment if there's a little break.
I'll definitely do what I can. But between 7 and 8, I'll be playing for 7.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, great.
You have
we sent
20-foot canopy for the band if we need it.
Okay, say the first part. The what?
20-foot canopy.
Who has it? You have
I
it?
do.
Oh, you
What's
do.
the-
Okay,
What's
fine.
the date again for the movies in the park?
First, it's Friday evening.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, and
Star Wars.
I think
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yes. Okay. Well, I went downtown today to Parks and Recreation and 311 PDX to pick up stuff to hand out at the table. And I have a lot of stuff. And so I followed your instructions.
Flyers.
And flyers and magnets and book Parks and Rec booklets and all kinds of things. And so I have them right here, ready to go. ready
Hooray.
for us to hand out. Okay, very fun.
Lifesaver, telling you.
No, Gail is responsible. She and her husband are responsible for the existence of Movies in the Park. They started it years ago and is now spread to I don't know how many parks in the over 20. It's way over 20.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Throughout Portland. It's now run by Parks and Recreation, and it's just a wonderful summer ritual for Portlanders to have. So thank you, Gail. Thanks to you and Richard. And I think you're a lifesaver of another kind, that it's much more important than picking up tchotchkes for handing out. So anyway, all right. So Chris, would you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Chris Gustafson. I moved to Brentwood Darlington 7 years ago, and I was the president of the Whitman Elementary PTA. I sub at Lane quite often in the library because I'm a retired school librarian. If I'm known for anything in the neighborhood, I'm the person who takes books by BIPOC authors and puts them around in other people's little free libraries, and then posts about what book I put there so people can go find them.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that information. Now, Corky, I'm not going to let you introduce yourself at this point because I'm going to have you wait until I officially present our Exploring Brentwood Darlington forum, which I will do right now. All right, so we have begun a practice of finding and featuring people who live in our neighborhood and do all kinds of wonderful and special things. Corky Hammond is an artisan who, along with his partners, produces quite wonderful pieces of furniture. And I would like, I'm going to introduce Corky to you now, and he will then introduce himself and talk about how he came to be in this business. So Corky, why don't you be prepared to start? I'm going to share screen and bring up the photographs that you provided. And as you speak, I will flip through I will go through the photographs. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Corky Hammond. I'm in partnership with two other gentlemen that have full-time jobs. I'm retired, so I spend more time doing it than they do. But we take items such as dining room chairs, bed headboards and footboards, and we make benches and chairs out of them. We try to keep everything that we do 80 to 90% recycled. We recycle, like I said, we drive along the street, we go on Craigslist, we get calls to come pick up furniture. This wishing well is wood made from a building site that those 2x4s all go to a landfill. And I saved them and went and begged the carpenters, and they said, yes, you can have anything under 3 foot. Those are 8-inch 2x4s, and the roof is made out of a recycled cedar fence. I take the cedar fences that people tear down, I put them through my planer, and I varnish them with an outdoor spar varnish. And this one here is one of them that we have here at the home. And every year I plant an annual flowers in it, and it's in front of the trailer here at the house. But everything is 80% recycled. One of the gentlemen that helped me works at Metro, and he brings home paint that would go into the landfills, but we save it, and that's what we use to paint the benches, the chairs, and the wishing wells. I do cedar wood flowers also out of the remnants of the cedar fencing that's not adequate for either a bench or a roof for the wishing well. The only thing we buy, this is a twin bed. The back is a headboard and the arms is the foot, the foot rail, and the wood that goes across it is from a cedar fence. So everything is recycled that's in it, except the wood screws to hold it together, including the varnish that we varnished it with. Everything is painted with an exterior paint, so you can put it in your gazebos or on your porch, or we have one on our porch that's been there for 7 years. My wishing well that's out front in front of my little camper trailer, it's been outdoors for 7 years. It's had a couple coats of paint, but it's been outdoors for 7 years. Everything we do, we try to paint it and varnish it so it has exterior worth, so you don't have to bring it in. I would bring all of my things in the wintertime because everything turns green in Oregon because we have so much water. So but everything's painted exterior, and we try to keep everything at least 80% recycled. This bench here is another twin, and I don't know if I sent her any pictures, but a lot of the see where the blue balls are on the arms and the backs, a lot of that is recycled curtain rod ends.
Oh, wonderful.
That I turn in, that's going to the landfill. Either he brings it home from the landfill or we get it before it goes to the landfill. But a lot of the bling blings on this particular furniture is curtain rod ends. So
Oh, very nice. Okay.
this one here we've had for like 6 years. And somebody came up and said, I like that bench. And Tony, one of the gentlemen that does the building with us, this sat in front of the trailer for 5 years. We didn't put it up for sale. And as a joke, the gentleman came up and said, I want that bench. And I said, you can't afford that bench, only because I wasn't supposed to sell it. And he said, what do you want for it? And I said, $75. And he said, is that all?
Uh-huh.
So I helped him put it in his truck. The decorations on the back of it, that's curtain rod ends, where we bored holes in the metal and put curtain rod ends.
Oh, very
Which-
nice.
Yeah.
And how about
This-
this?
This set here was a dining room set that was in an estate sale that didn't sell. And they were on their way to a landfill. And I said, no, they're not. The end table itself, the side table, is the backs off of 2 chairs that I couldn't recycle. So I took the backs off of the chairs and made a side table to match the rest of it. But that's all recycled cedar fencing, and the paint is from Metro. And it's sold right away. It was a real popular set. It sold right away.
And this is 3 chairs together, right?
Right, that's 3 dining room chairs. And this is the captain's chair to the left.
I see.
Yeah,
Very nice. And
yeah.
something
This is
that,
this is another twin that we thought we were going to draw decals on the back of, and it didn't sell. We had it for 3 years, and I thought it had some kind of a curse, so we painted it a different color. And a week after we painted it, it sold.
oh,
So
what
it's
was
all
the
in.
color before?
It was all in the, I think there was little birds and clouds or something that we stenciled on it, and it didn't go. So
Oh,
we gave it an overhaul, and it went. This is nothing more than a buffet dining room metal chairs that was being thrown out. I went to an establishment that went out of business, and they were giving them away in their alleyway, and I took probably 15 out of probably 100 that they had. And this is only one set of the holes in the back, on the back of the benches. That's cedar fencing, and so is the seats, but the holes in the back is natural nuts that are in the wood that I picked and varnished each individual one of them.
oh, you
And then
chose the holes. Very
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, and the end table, the side table there is just a dining room chair that had a bad back, so I cut the back of the chair off and put the cedar fencing, the varnished cedar fencing on top of it to make it a set.
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
Okay.
This one we had for about 4 years, and a woman fell in love with it last week, and it's now sitting up the street about 3.5 blocks, screaming at me every time I drive by. She bought
That's-
it, yeah. She's been a repeat customer. She's bought quite a few things. She buys her mother-in-law, her mother and her mother-in-law's gifts from here.
Very nice.
This is just 2 dining room chairs facing each other. And I took the legs off the front, built a bench between the 2 back parts, the support parts, and then put the whiteboards on the back to make the back.
It's really highly unusual.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is just 2 dining room, this is just 2 chairs that we got, that we tore the cushions off, and they had some kind of a, bad looking back on them. So we just put a good sanding and a good paint job and the varnish on them. That's
Oh, very nice.
how those came apart.
Yeah. Okay.
This one here is probably, the twins are probably our best sellers. We do twins, queens, and I've done 2 kings. The queens don't sell like the twins do. The twins fit in people's gazebos and on people's porches and
I see.
settees. Some people buy them and put them inside their homes for when they step inside their home to take their shoes off. So
Just right for 2 people. Sit
Yeah.
side by side.
yeah. And this is just another twin that I found along the road, or I got off Craigslist. Occasionally I buy them from Restore. Occasionally when they have their blue light special, I'll spend $5 and buy one, but rarely do I ever buy one. 90% of my stuff is 97% of our stuff is recycled.
Wow.
It was on its way to a landfill, and I saved it from a landfill. This is 2 chairs. I have no idea why I sent them to you this way. They have a beautiful white set, painted wood seat in them, and they're still in the sale, but they'll sell. Yeah.
But you need to
So-
put a seat on them, right?
Yeah, it's got it. I don't know why I meant to send you the one with the seat.
Oh, I see.
I didn't do
Okay.
it.
I'm
And
gonna
then there's this lady up the street that came and fell in love with my chairs, and she bought 2 of them and she put them in her front room.
No.
But
Oh,
we're not going to
okay,
mention.
yes,
We're
all
not going to
right,
mention
well,
any names.
okay, no.
This one here.
He's
This one
talking
here.
about me, and those are 2 chairs that I bought.
Yeah.
I had been looking for 2 chairs, and when I went to their driveway sale, I saw them immediately, the chairs that I wanted. And he'd been holding them for me without knowing it. So those are in my living room right now, and I adore them. Okay,
This
tell
one
us
here-
about this one. I took this photograph.
This one here is next door, right next door to us. The kids bought the home and have had the home painted since this picture was taken. And it's been on their porch since the day they moved in. And they got it. And then they, just within the last year or so, they got the side tables to go with it. She's also bought chairs. She bought a queen, or a twin set for her daughter's bedroom. When their daughter got rid of the doll houses, they decided to put the twin set in her bedroom, and she's got side tables and single chairs underneath her grapes that she's also got or bought. We
Well,
give her this as a housewarming present. This particular one was given to her as a housewarming.
That's
3
quite
of us.
amazing
Yeah,
piece of
yeah.
furniture. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to the very beginning because I skipped. I didn't show this one.
Okay. This is one of the first ones that I did. And I was going to put cushions on all of mine. But after I went to the varnished cedar fencing, and people would come and say, I don't particularly care for the cushion that's on it. So I just went with bare cedar, varnished the cedar, and people buy their cushions to fit on the benches and the seats now
Oh,
themselves.
right, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, and then we saw this one, I think.
right.
Yeah,
right.
very nice. Okay, so I learned that the neighbors up and down the street next to him, they all have items of furniture.
There's probably 25 of my benches and chairs within a 6 or 7 block radius. I know we have, let me count. 1 across the street, 2 across the street. We probably have 12 from here to 60th Street. I'm on 52nd. I'm on 5234 Knapp Street. Just across the street from ASAP Little Mini Mart. And we probably have 12 from 52nd to 60th on porches in just that short distance.
Oh, that's quite wonderful. That,
And
so tell the story about going to Mount Hood with a
Okay,
trade.
when we first started and I was doing it, I was making the benches, and my gentleman friend from Mount Hood and my roommate would come and help me plug away and tell me yes and no. And anyway, I also do karaoke. I have a karaoke gig system, and I went out to do karaoke, and the activities director says, we're going to have an artisan sale. Why don't you bring some of your furniture out and come early and then do the karaoke in the evening? Well, this went on for about a month, and we set up an appointment and rented our spot. And we always loaded up the truck, and we have a little utility trailer we put the stuff on it. We probably had 15 items, and it was an August, very hot day, and we pulled into the parking lot. and people started crowding around the truck and the car. And I thought, well, that's nice. They're going to help us load this stuff and take it up on the courtyard where we're going to have the artisan sale. And the gentleman, as I'm unroping the chairs and the benches, said, you don't need to bother taking that up there in the courtyard. You can take it from your trailer and put it in my truck. I said, sir, you don't even know what you're buying. He said, your prices are so affordable, it doesn't matter. Take it off of your trailer and put it on my truck. It didn't even make the sale. They were buying them off the utility trailer before we could get them up on them. Now, whether he was reselling it or he had a nursery or what his background was, I have no idea, but he bought several. He came and bought several, but he bought them off that particular time. He bought them off the back of the truck. So they didn't make it to the courtyard because he was afraid he might not get them.
Well,
So
that
he-
doesn't surprise me a bit. That,
He didn't ask prices or nothing. He picked them out and that's what we put on the trucks.
Very
Yeah,
nice story. I love that story.
we
That's
did wonderful at Mount Hood Village at their artisan sale. We always were the biggest sellers out of all of the, and they had probably 10, 12 vendors and we were always the top sales.
Oh, well,
So it didn't- so
congratulations.
that's back in the days when it didn't matter what they charged us for our space, but I'm finding out it's easier to keep it at home and keep it underneath the garage. And when you want to have it, put it in the driveway and have it. So but we have them periodically through the summer.
Yes, and you put up big signs, artisan
Yes.
sale throughout the
Mhm.
neighborhood. So
Right.
those of us, if you see those signs, head for Knapp Street, Knapp and 52nd. So do any of our board members and visitors have any questions to put to Corky?
Don't make it too difficult.
Corky, would you make a little free libraries?
But I do which,
Would you make a little free library?
I don't do custom orders. We did one time and the woman come to pick it up and absolutely hated it.
Oh,
was
no.
It was far from being what she wanted. It sold that day in the artisan sale, but
Sure.
she was so put out. So we don't do it. And my motive is to stay with recycled items. I don't want to go to Home Depot and buy 2x4s or bolts to put it together. Everything that I do, I want to be at least 80% recycled.
Well,
So-
and the reason I ask is that there used to be a woman in our neighborhood named Zoe. She and her husband, John, he was the one that was the arborist. And Zoe made a lot of little free libraries in our neighborhood out of cupboards. Hers were all recycled. She just took a cupboard and cut it down and it had the door on it. And just, anyway, that's what made me think of it.
Right.
Well, so when Corky, you sell your furniture during the summer and then you pack things up for the
In the winter,
fall,
yeah.
winter and spring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
I haven't found a consignment place that doesn't want to double what I charge. So if I sell something for 55, they have to put $110 on it to put it in their consignment stores. And I'm cool with that, but I think my things would set idle even in the consignment stores. I wouldn't mind doing it and trying it, but like I said, consignment wants half of what you make off of your item. So if I put, like I say, if I want $55 out of that particular bench you're showing right now, I've got to tell her I want $110.
I
So she
see.
can have her $55 out of it. And I
Laura-
give her 55.
Laura Lee has a question. Go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, the picture that you have up right now,
Mhm.
with it's kind of got a shellac finish to it.
Right.
I actually like the cushion and it almost looks waterproof. Does any of your furniture, do you ever put, I'm sorry if you've already mentioned this, I had to multitask for a couple minutes, but is any of your furniture have a finish on it that it's not completely waterproof, but can stand?
All of my
outside?
paints and my stains, all of my paints and my varnishes are exterior. My paints that I use are a latex based paint, which is an exterior paint. And my varnish is spar varnish, which is what they put on the bottoms of boats.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So, yeah, so, the wood part, the cedar fence part of my boards, you can pour water on.
Very
And
nice.
it'll just fail. It'll just come right off.
Okay, so Corky, are you having any more sales this summer?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have one, the 15th, the same day that the artisan sale's happening on the street that they're closing or trying to get closed. I'll
Uh-huh.
have one on that day, and then probably the Sunday following. We're gonna take next weekend off. We've done about, probably 4 or 5 weekends, 6 weekends in a row. So we're gonna take next weekend off. We've got a personal problem we've got to deal with, and we lost a family member, and we're gonna go help coordinate her apartment and get her apartment cleaned out. So we're gonna
Oh,
take the
okay.
weekend off.
All
This
right, very
weekend.
fine.
On
Well,
the on July 15th, we'll have it. And we start 10 and run it till 7 o'clock. All we do is just put everything in a big pile and hide it in the driveway anyway. So
okay.
when we get tired of sitting outside, which is rare, we cover it and close and pull our signs. And my signs are on 60th and my signs are on 52nd. And like I say, it's the street right across the street from the ASAP Mini Mart.
Okay, very
Very
fine. Thank you for this wonderful presentation and for keeping so many things out of the landfill. I personally love my little chairs, and I think that you have an extraordinary imagination. So I look forward to posting information about your furniture and so on to our email list and our website. And well, that'll spread the word around the neighborhood. So
Thank you.
you so much, Corky.
And thank you all. For you that haven't seen the products, please just stop by. You don't have to purchase, but just stop by. I think you'll be impressed. Thank
Okay,
you all for having me.
very fine. Oh,
We
thank you
greatly
very
appreciate
much.
this. Thank you.
Okay, take care. All
Okay.
right. All right, so that's very exciting to learn about this this wonderful effort right on Knapp Street, across from the ASAP Market. And so to move on to the Francis Center, we had invited a speaker, but he was unable to come. So I went over there and visited the Francis Center, which is located on 82nd Avenue, just south of Duke Street by a couple of addresses. It's an old house that was built in 1922, which has been completely refurbished, is beautifully maintained, and it's stocked with the items that the Francis Center offers to vulnerable people in our neighborhood. And the Francis Center has existed since 1967, that's 56 years. It was started by Franciscan priests. It's now run by people who are not priests, who have formed a nonprofit and take donations, food donations from Oregon Food Bank, from Master Gardeners, now that Master Gardeners is not donating to Meals on Wheels, or at least to the office that closed up on Holgate. And they get, they're connected in with several organizations that collect food from various places. So Francis Center benefits from Chick-fil-A and from Olive Garden. It gets huge containers of frozen soup from Olive Garden and hundreds of frozen but cooked Chick-fil-A fillets. And they divided these things up and have a beautiful organization in their house. The downstairs, the basement area is for the food. They have produce, beverages, canned goods, stuff in glass, all kinds of food available in freezers and so on. And people come in who need food, they place an order upstairs, what they need, and then volunteers go downstairs and put together a food box that's specially tailored to each household. And on the first floor is a big clothing center. Unlike the food, which is donated by organizations that are not individuals, the clothing all comes from individual donations. And the Francis Center also gives toiletries and household items donated by individuals. It exists, it relies on donations and some small grants, and it's all volunteer run. I must say, when I was there, I felt this vibe in the air that was very, very positive. These seemed like volunteers that really, really enjoy their jobs and feel that they're bringing a benefit to the community, which they are. I learned that normally, until a few months ago, the center was serving 200 to 300 families per month. But now it is serving over 800. Let me just show you an image of the Francis Center here. This is the front stairs of their old house. They have a kind of park in the back, and there's a place in the back where people can park and open up the trunks of their cars and receive their food packages and clothing donations. So they're at capacity now when they're serving over 800 families per month. And they are not wanting to spread the word too much more. Now they're not advertising so much right now because they're at capacity, and there's effective advertising just by word of mouth from desperate people. They don't ask any questions. Whoever shows up is served. And they said there may be a few people coming who probably are wealthy enough that they don't need these food boxes and so on. But he says it has to be a very small amount. Most of the people, almost everybody who shows up is in a pretty desperate situation. So I was very happy to learn about the Francis Center because I didn't know about its existence until a few months ago. And I didn't even know that it was in Brentwood, Darlington. So I think it's a wonderful institution, and I'm hoping in the budget that we are going to prepare. I'm going to suggest that we think about donating some money to them, and if we can afford it, maybe we'll want to do that. But of course, that's going to be up to the board. But I am going to bring that up. So, are there any questions from those of you present about the Francis Center? Have any of you already been over there? No?
I haven't been over there, but I've known about it for quite a while. It seems like a really wonderful place. Do you know, they take private donations, right? Like I could drop off clothes instead of
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I had never done that before. And thank you for reminding me of their existence, because I'll just take my clothes there instead of Goodwill.
Mm-hmm. And Pam, you have your hand raised. Thank you, Laura Lee.
Yeah, I know. I'm just curious as to whether they know how broad their service area is, whether it's mainly people from the neighborhood or whether people are coming from all over the city. Just
I think
wondering.
it's pretty local. Lance, Brentwood, Darlington, maybe a few people from Mount Scott, Arleta, but I think it's quite local. It was my impression from speaking to the director. And I don't think it's people from all over Portland, because compared to some of the big food banks and food offerings and pantries and so on, this is a rather small enterprise. And so I definitely had the sense from talking to him that that it's very concentrated in the local area.
It is, but they have on their website, they said we serve zip codes 97266, 9726206.
Thank you, Laura Lee. I forgot
And-
about that.
Yeah, 97215 and 97216. And I also noticed on their website, because I was looking at it after you sent the agenda out, I think they did a very smart move by asking people to come once a month if they can, instead of once a week, unless you are houseless. And then they'll take you once a week. They'll serve everybody that comes. It's just a suggestion for people, which I thought was very smart of them.
Okay, yeah, that is smart, because then that can reduce the number of people per day. But they can give them a big box. It'll last them longer. Yeah, okay. All right, well, this is a wonderful institution, and if you have some time, stop by and become acquainted with them. And I'm very pleased to know that they're in the neighborhood and serving hard hit people in our area, or in the 3 zip codes that Laura Lee named. Okay, I'm going to stop screen sharing on that and retire that. All right. Okay, so on to announcements of public interest. First, update on our greenway and sidewalks. There's an update posted June 20th, so that's about a week and a half ago, a couple of weeks ago. The PBOT says that final design plans are being reviewed and right-of-way acquisition phase is wrapping up. Staff is working on gathering documentation for state and federal approvals. So they're grinding away at it. I wanted to show you a document having to do with TGM, as a matter of fact, but I'm just reminded that before we leave the Francis Center too far behind, okay, so you can see this document. At the Francis Center, I found this notice about the TGM, this is also PBOT connected, all in Chinese, and I thought I would share that with you. Here's the back. I thought it was quite wonderful. And I think they must have had them in Spanish as well, but I only saw the Chinese. Okay. If you have any questions about the greenway and sidewalks, could you put them in the chat, because there's no possible way for me to answer it right now. I just do not know any more details than what I just told you. But supposedly we will see action by the end of the year, and let's just hope for it. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is Socket Week. Socket Weeks are planned for the last week of July and the last week of August. So I was thinking of having some cards printed out. This is a 6-card page with our logo on it that possibly we could hand out at the movies in the park. If we printed a couple hundred of them, we can hand them out freely through the crowd and remind people to water their trees. It should be a very hot evening, and so make an impression on people that the trees need watering too. We're going to be handing out cans of water, but we can also talk about the trees. But I'll need to talk with Pam and see if we have enough money to make these cards. But this is my idea. What is the reaction of people to idea of printing this on light stock and cutting them up? Gail?
Can we hand them out with the water? Like attach it, tape it, or just here, the card?
I think that's going to be kind of difficult. First of all, we won't have as many cans of water as we will have
Okay.
cards. But if we hand a can of water to people, we can definitely hand one of these cards to them. When we run out of water, we'll just hand cards without the water. Okay. All right, any other comments?
Is there anything on the back of,
Not so far.
I was wondering, I mean, this is just an idea, but, and it might be too complicated to do right now, but, you know, we handed out a lot of buckets. There's also, I've seen it on the internet, there's instructions on how to drill your own buckets if you don't have buckets. So it might be nice, like, if I can find something, put a little note on the back that, how to slowly soak your trees if you don't already have buckets.
If you can supply it,
I'll look for it and see where I saw that. Because
I'll
my concern is we're going to hand it out to people, but there's going to be an awful lot of people that did not get buckets for Soak It Week. And
well,
so
but there are other ways to, you don't really need a bucket to
well,
water.
that's true. That's very true.
So my time is definitely running out now. If you can supply something, if you can supply the words, I'll put it on the back of the
Okay.
cards.
I'll think
And
about
then-
it, like ways to soak your trees. 1, hose. 2, sprinkler. 3, soak it buckets. 4.
Yeah. Right,
Anyway,
okay, something like that. That would be fine. That would be great. If you'll do it, I'll put it on.
okay, I'll look.
And that's subject to our, of course, whether we can, whether we have enough money. Pam, yes.
Well, just to follow up on Laurel's comments, I'm trying to remember, but I think last year there were some guidelines on how much water trees needed, and not everyone knows how thirsty those trees are. So, Laurel, if you have anything that talks about the quantity of water and frequency of watering, I think that would be helpful information to print on the back of the cards as well.
Yeah, I can come up with that very quickly because it's on the buckets.
There you go.
So I can type that out, and that might just be a really nice, quick, easy thing to put on the back. Did you know?
Mm-hmm.
This is
Interesting.
how much
fact.
water these trees need. So
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Laura and Pam, thank you. Yeah, no, if we can make it very, very succinct, I mean, this front side is very, what can I say? It's very succinct. Water your trees and when. And it's got our little logo on it. And it's
it
got,
looks great, by the way.
Yes.
well, that's Chelsea's art, which it's a very fetching picture. One of the things that's funny about it, though, is the reason it shows water pouring out of the sky onto the trees. But the reason we want to water the trees is there isn't any water coming out of the sky. But the thing still works. It's a wonderful image. So we should use it. Okay. So we have, if we could get that from you, Laura Lee, as soon as possible. I hate to put the pressure on you, but I need to get a quote from the printers. I need to check with Pam about the cost and then get it to the printers, and it has to be printed and cut and so on. So if you could shoot the information to me soon, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, next. Okay, all right, Harney Park. We have a update on Harney Park. This Portland Parks and Rec has a final design for the new playground. The most noticeable change, they say, is expanding the swing set to include a toddler swing, which must be this right here. And then they say the final design is larger than the previous plan, will require some additional site work. They're talking about putting in a retaining wall around the swing area. Installation will begin in late summer or early fall and will take about 8 weeks. The playground will be closed during installation. So it's coming up late summer, early fall. We'll have brand new brand new Harney Park playground equipment. It looks pretty spiffy. Pam and I went to the open house for that, and we voted on different things, but I can't even remember now what they were. So
It's good.
do you like them? What do you think?
I do. I think that looks great.
How about you, Gail? Do you like it? Yes, can't hear you. How about you, Pam?
No, I think it looks fine. I was just searching my email here because I thought there was something else going on at Harney Park. Maybe it was in a Soul newsletter, but I can't recall what it is now, so apologies.
Oh. Okay, all right.
We're
And
having issues around Harney Park again,
I know, I was there and I saw.
but it's not only that. I'm sure Pam has heard the gunfire, the shots. It was about, I think I called 911 maybe 3 times in a week. And it's all towards Harney Park, unfortunately. And then of course there's a lot of activity going on and RVs and stuff like that. So I think that the playground looks amazing and it's going to be so much fun to have it there. I hope that people bring their kids to it.
Gail,
Are they keeping the fence? It's one of the few fenced parks.
I haven't heard anything about the fence being removed, and it seems like a good idea to keep the fence.
Good.
Well, I don't know for sure, but I haven't heard anything about removing it.
Okay.
I didn't even think about that there's a fence and that most parks don't have fences. That does give a little bit of separation from sidewalk to park.
Right, yeah. Okay,
Well,
very
once upon a
fine.
time, it was one of the safer parks.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about this gunfire. I didn't know about it. You called 911 3 times? Is that what you said?
In about a week and a half. And one time I called and it was about 4 a.m. and I called 911 and they answered, "Are you calling about the gunfire?" It's like, yeah.
Oh,
It's because so many people are calling. It was a busy, it was a busy week and a half. And yeah, my neighbors and I we text each other even at 2 and 3 a.m. just to confirm that it's gunshots. And then we always call, and obviously a lot of people call since they answered, "Are you calling about the gunfire by Harney Park?" I'm like, "Yep." So yeah.
okay, well, that's good. That's good that as many of you as possible are calling. That's wonderful. Because that does go into the record. The police then, one of the police officers when I visited precinct last year said, if people don't call, then the police department assumes that nothing's going on. So it's absolutely essential to call on everything that's wrong so that they can get a picture of what's going on, because they just assume if it's silent, if there's silence, then nobody's upset about anything. So we don't have to go over there.
Yeah, and I like calling it in, but I also, it's a little, I don't ever feel like I can give them any information, because we just hear it. We don't see anything, but maybe other neighbors see stuff. I don't know. For me, it's just sound. So I never feel like I can give them a lot of information.
That's okay. I think it's still valuable for them to know that you hear gunfire in this X area. And so thank you for calling.
Excuse me, I found the information. It was an announcement from Multnomah County that they'd installed a misting station at Harney Park near the restroom.
Oh, really?
Mhm. That came out July 20, starting Tuesday, July 26th.
Oh, okay. Starting the 26th. All right.
Mm.
I was going to say, I was there just the other day with my dog. I didn't see a misting station, but now I know why. Okay, the 26, it's good to know. Thank you. Pam.
I'll forward this to you, Stephanie.
Okay, good. All right, very fine. Okay, let's put away Harney Park. We're ahead of schedule. We don't have anyone from Black Futures, Master Gardeners, or Woodstock Library tonight. So in the interest of having a short meeting, shall we just plunge ahead, or do you want to break? Plunge ahead?
Punch ahead.
Okay, very
Full
fine.
steam ahead.
All right, well, so our first order of business for the under board business is to approve the minutes of May and June 2023. I'm not going to show them here because Laura Lee sent them out and we've read them. And so I don't think we need to go through them. So Laura Lee, would you like to move that they be approved?
Yeah, sorry, I have to keep turning off my AC unit because it's so loud.
Oh,
Yes, I would like to move to approve the minutes of May 2023 and June 2023 with a correction on Gail's last name. But otherwise, all the corrections have been made.
okay.
Okay.
Gail will second, okay. Okay. All right, let me call the roll. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of May and June 2023. Is there any discussion? No? All right. Let's take the roll call. Laura Lee,
Hi.
Kim,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Gail,
Aye.
and Stephanie. Aye. All right. Approved. All right, treasurer's report. Let me bring that up. Okay.
Okay. So I sent this to the board members July 3rd, I believe, and did not receive any questions or comments. You can see from the income that in addition to our usual small interest dividend, we did receive reimbursement from Southeast Uplift for our Bikes for Humanity and Green Century recycling fees. So they've been pretty prompt in reimbursing us. And expenses, that was the first installment of the Parks and Rec movie in the park for $750. And let's see, under expect, and I'm just not calling out everything, but just a few highlights. Expected expenses, I think we're still reserving another $250 in case Parks demands the full 1,000. And we know that Sewell is going to deduct the annual fiscal sponsorship fee at the end of June, so that's $50. And we've got the marching band payment reserved, a few stamps for mailings, office supplies for movie in the park that was previously approved by the board, and some line items there for the pop-up trash pickups, also previously approved by the board, and then printing a brochure inserts for various handout events. And then under expected income, you see an update on what we have reserved for us at Southeast Uplift under our fiscal sponsorship account. And it looks like it might have gotten cut off here, but at the bottom, like you saw last month, I did an update on the $500 we receive each year from Southeast Uplift for communications expenses. And as you can see, we've exhausted that $500 now and just overspent it by $94.99, which simply means that we took it from our general advanced account. So, is there
Okay.
any questions about any of that? And if not, I will move to approve the treasurer's report for May.
Okay, and I will second it, but I did have a couple of comments and they're all positive. So first of all, regarding the $500 from Southeast Uplift, I really like the way we went about spending the $500. We didn't have to spend it all at once in desperation at the end of the year, just to be able to get another $500 in the following year. So this is more the way things ought to roll out. So I've seen some examples where we've just in past years where we clearly had to use up the funds and we paid for stuff that in the end we didn't use, but all of the things that we bought this year we're using. So this is nice, and then we don't have to scramble in December to try to figure out how we're going to spend the 500. So thank you for laying this all out, Pam. It's
Vegas.
nice and clear. Then I wanted to say that up here under the Office Depot supplies, I bought something called Lift Off Lemon and gave it a ream of it to Gail, who printed up a fabulous flyer for us. And I'm so sorry I don't have an image of it, but it's very, very, oh, okay, she has it. Okay, I don't know if I can show it myself.
It'll take me a minute. Give me a minute. Oh, I'll be right back. Oh, there's one.
Okay, here. I don't know how to do spotlight on myself, but does anybody know how to do spotlight? I can't. Anyway, this is the color. You can see it, and it's got a really great design that Gail put together. And we have all the correct logos at the bottom so that we don't run afoul of our oversight agencies. And it's a great flyer. I've got them all sorted out by the markets I'm going to take them to, and I'm going to bring each of our board members, or almost each of us, a stack to hand out to your neighbors, please. Except you, Gail. I figure you'll have some, but I can bring you some if you want.
Oh, I've got paper. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Very fine. You did a fabulous job on designing the flyer and then printing it for us. And that was, we paid $26.49 for the paper, but you donated your time and ink cartridges. And thank you so much for doing that. It was just super.
I got my new ink yesterday, so I'm good to go.
Oh, is that right? Okay, good.
Ink of the Month Club.
I'm sorry, what?
I have an Ink of the Month Club. They ship
Oh,
to me automatically.
oh, okay. All right, well, we don't want to call on you too much because it would be unfair, but we would love to be able to call on you sometimes in the future to help. Thank you. And then on the stamps, we have Derek just got 315 mailing labels, 350 that represent the last 18 months of new home purchases in Brentwood Darlington. So we're proposing to send out 350 brochures, each one with an insert. They're all ready to go. They sitting downstairs getting flattened because when they came from the printer, they kind of curled in the box. And I didn't think they could make it through the postal machinery very well. So they are sitting under heavy books, but they'll be ready to go. And we have the stamps are going to go on the flyers. Gail, yes.
Do we have brochures going out in the next week or two?
Well, I was planning to hand over the brochures to Derek tomorrow. And so I would presume over the weekend, he'll put the labels on and send them out.
Throw Movies in the Park flyers in there? If you need more, I can print more.
Yeah, the problem is, I'm not sure we can fold them up to fit. Let me struggle with this by myself. not at this exact moment,
No,
but yeah, I don't know.
let me know.
It's a good thought, and I wish, I don't know, let me just think about it, all right?
No worries.
Um, because I was psychologically prepared to hand off these brochures and not have to have it on my to-do list anymore. You know, there was getting the stamps, getting the inserts printed and cut, and then stuffing all the brochures, and then getting them to Derek. And so I thought I was done. Now you've raised a very good point, but
Sorry.
sort of feeling a little resistant at the moment. But just let me come to terms with it psychologically, okay? All right. Anyway, okay, we received from Amazon, we have 2 grabbers and gloves and compostable trash bags. We don't have Casey anymore, but I'm gonna go out with our lane parent and her daughter, and we're gonna see how a pickup outing would roll out, and it'll just be an experiment, and maybe we'll just do that for the summer, and while we look for a volunteer to head up the program. And that's okay. So, all right. So I seconded it, and then the motion, and then I wanted to talk, but now I can call the roll. Okay, Laura Lee, how do you vote on this motion?
Aye.
Kim DeLeo?
Aye.
Okay, Pam?
Aye.
Gail?
And we're not gonna pay Parks and Rec the $250 until they ask for it.
This is almost killing me, Gail, but I am abiding by
What they
your
said.
direction. I'm waiting on them. I have not reached out and asked.
Yes, they said if they needed it, they would talk to us. Otherwise, we were good. But having it in reserve is awesome, just in case they do call.
Right.
Yes, aye.
Oh, okay, very fine. And then Stephanie, aye. All right, so the treasurer's report is approved. And thank you for all the work you put in on these treasurer's reports, Pam. Sometimes they're kind of tricky, and but very interesting to see all this laid out so clearly. It's really helpful.
Well,
It
thank
was
you
a
for
lot of
keeping
work.
good records and receipts. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. I found a new way to do this. I'm so excited. I'm using for each venture, I'm putting together an Excel spreadsheet, and I found that I can print the receipts I can paste them into the Excel spreadsheet. So I've got a tab for each receipt that belongs to an event, and then the little budget is in the front, what we spent and everything. So I should be able to hand you over Excel spreadsheets that are filled with all the information all in one blow.
That's awesome.
Anyway, that was there are a few little small excitements along the way. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing on that and get rid of that. Okay. Now, the next item is coming from me, has to do with creating a budget and a strategic work plan for the next year, 10 months, something like that. I don't know exactly what it will be, but we've never had a budget, to my knowledge, and we haven't ever had a strategic work plan that is generated by the board, and it is a commitment or a more as sort of a combination of a commitment and a hope fest of what we would like to accomplish over the months ahead. And then we're going to evaluate our resources. Can we do the things we want to do? It's not going to be a blame game. All of us, almost everyone on the board works. Those of us who are retired, we're glad to put in the time, but our time also is not infinite. So we have to see what our resources are and what we can do in the way of events, of communications, of fundraising. Are there any donations we'd like to make? I'd like us to make a little donation to the Francis Center, but maybe we can't afford that. That's something we'll need to discuss. And I also want to talk about recruiting board members and recruiting volunteers over the next year, and talk about what kind of skills do we need? What kind of people do we want, and start building our board and our volunteer network in a way that's useful and exciting and helps us accomplish what we'd like to do for the neighborhood. So I will draft a budget and strategic plan, but it will be a basis for possible complete change. It's just a way to get us going. So when I get that done, and I haven't even started it yet, I will propose it to you, and then we can have at it, and we need to be very honest with it. And what can we do? What can we really accomplish? And we can revise it into something that we all find useful together. But I'll start the ball rolling, and then you can say, oh no, whatever. So that is the budget and strategic plan statement. In the meantime, we do need volunteers for Movies in the Park and for the Sparrowhawk fundraiser. So Pam and I are committed to tabling at the park, but it would be nice to have two more people. So is anyone here able, Kim or Laura, to table at Movies in the Park on Friday evening, the 21st? Or do you know of someone?
Well, I actually won't be in town, so
Okay.
that's why I sent you a message about volunteering for Sparrowhawk.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, how about you, Kim?
And sorry, I was moving around my house. So we're talking about manning the table for the park. I think I could probably swing that, but just a heads up. It's been a very hectic couple of weeks. Well, especially the last week. Jeff and I decided we're going to get married
Oh,
on the
congratulations.
15th of this month.
Oh,
It started as my aunt and uncle are coming into town in their RV. They're traveling through. And she's been on us like, when are you going to get married? When are you guys just need to do it, blah, blah, blah. So we thought, we probably do just need to do it. So now it's kind of an elopement, but now people are showing up and my best friend's flying in. And so it's going to be awesome. But my 50th is on the 31st, but I think we're good. So I think I can do the 21st.
okay, that would be wonderful if you could.
Why don't you get married at Movies in the Park? There's going to be a marching band, I heard.
We totally could have done that. But I guess my aunt's only here for the 14th, 15th, 16th. So
Okay, and so what is the
it's
day?
fine.
What's the day of your marriage? The 15th?
15th. And so I
Okay.
think we're just going to go out to Edgefield and do a quick ceremony there with our friend who just got ordained via the internet 2 days ago.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
we want to know the person that's marrying us. So that's helpful.
oh, very good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So I'll bring my
it's
my
wonderful.
husband to the movies.
Oh. Okay, very nice. Then, yeah, you can.
It's your
vote
first
that.
date as a married couple.
Yeah, right. It probably will be.
Okay, well, then he can be the second volunteer we're seeking.
Oh yeah, I'll volunteer him. I'll have papers on him by then. So I'll volunteer.
Okay, wonderful. All right. Okay, and then let's talk about Sparrowhawk for a minute. I'm going to bring up the Sparrowhawk calendar. If I can find my. Okay, hold on just a second.
And also, Gail, if you need another canopy, we have a canopy, like one of those, shade. What do you call them? Like a.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to bring mine too if you need any more.
we will probably need it for our table.
Okay. I'll plan on bringing it.
Yeah,
Okay, well, and we have I have the BDNA's pop-up tent too. So that's a pretty big one, I think. Kim, should we bring that and then you and
Yep.
who's your husband to be his
Yep.
name?
Jeff.
Jeff.
Oh, yeah, we'll bring ours, and if we don't need it, that's fine.
At least we'll have it if
Yeah.
we need it.
Yeah, and we live literally right next to the park.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal. We can run it home or throw it in the car or
Well,
whatever.
actually, if you could be if you could supply the tent, that would be great.
Yeah, because it's probably gonna be warm.
It
We'll
will
take,
be.
we'll take all the shade we can get.
Yes. Shade will be good.
I'll bring my Disney fan that blows air and mist for emergencies.
It's battery driven.
Yeah, it's just those little handheld ones, but you get roped into buying it at Disney because Disney's so hot. Just to cool
Right.
yourself off, you know?
Okay, well, that sounds wonderful. And I'll try to chill the water ahead of time if I
Oh,
can.
yes, that is definitely good.
Anyway. Okay, let's talk about, so thank you very much, Kim and Jeff. So that'll be Pam, Stephanie, Kim, Jeff at the table, and then Gail will be dropping by when she's not playing in the band. So we shall have a good board presence at Movies in the Park. Thank you. Okay, I want to talk about Sparrowhawk now briefly. We're in the beginning of July. So we have some time, but I just do want to bring up to you a couple of things. One, I would like us to approve our participation in the Sparrowhawk fundraiser so that we do have board approval for this. And we haven't sought it before because we weren't certain we were going to be chosen, but we have been chosen, and we're very fortunate to be chosen 2 years in a row, and we've just done them a favor, which I hope will make us be chosen a third year in a row next year. We'll see. But the way this will play out, hold on, let me just ask to approve first that we participate in this, because this brought us in a nice chunk of money last year, and this is all due to Chelsea. Completely setting that all up and carrying it out even after she was no longer chair. So she set a great precedent, and I'd like to be able to duplicate that. But we need board approval to formally accept that we will participate in a Sparrowhawk. So I move that we approve BDNA's participation in the Sparrowhawk fundraiser at the end of October in 2023. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Gail. All right, any discussion? Okay, let me call the roll. Laura Lee,
Aye.
Kim DeLeo,
Aye.
Hodge,
Aye.
Gail,
Aye.
and Stephanie, aye. All right, thank you very much. So the way this plays out is as follows. It's over 3 days. The afternoon of the first day, which is a Thursday, they're going to need 12 people. One possibility is that we provide 5, Master Gardeners 5, and then 1 each from Black Futures Farm and 1 from LGL. So I'll be working with them to see how many people they can provide on that day. That's the biggest hit, that first day, when we have to set out all the plants, and I think we have to put stickers on the containers identifying what they are. And then, so as we get closer, we'll have a better idea of how many we need to supply. But if you could please, because this is such an important fundraiser, mark your calendars for possibly volunteering on that last weekend, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday in October 26, 27, 28. That would be really wonderful. Those of you who can, of course, most of us work, but if you can come on the 26th in the afternoon, that would be fabulous. Then starting on Friday morning, we need 5 volunteers in the morning and another 5 in the afternoon. On Saturday morning, we need 5 in the morning. In the afternoon, we need 5, but it's a little bit shorter span of time. So it's 12 the first day, and then it's 5, 5, 5, 5. Maybe on those 5 days, we can supply 2, Master Gardeners 1, and Black Futures Farm 1. Again, we'll be working that out. But if we can pitch in as possible, it would be really great, because this is an outstanding fundraiser for us. And we will really benefit from it.
So
So-
Stephanie, excuse me, I'm trying to remember, I mean, we're actually, if we can't muster all of these volunteers, Sparrowhawk has to go out and hire someone at an hourly rate of, I think, $25, and then we're charged that. So it's really important that we do our very best to find enough volunteers to staff this event.
Right, thank you for saying that, because yeah, there is a penalty, and we bring in less money if we can't supply the volunteers. And it doesn't need to be board members. It can be boyfriends, husbands, neighbors next door, aunts, uncles. It can be even can be teenagers. I think I'm going to see if some of the Lane Middle School kids can come with their parents. So it doesn't, I'm going to be soliciting for volunteers. So it doesn't need to be a board burden. Laura Lee.
Have you spoken to Linda about her crew of folks from Master Gardeners? Because when I went last year to drop off the buckets, I was blown away with how many people were there volunteering, and they weren't people that I recognized. I saw some of us from BDNA, but they have quite a, I don't know where she gets her volunteers from, but they had a lot of people.
Well, no, Linda has been part of the conversation right from the beginning. And one of the reasons that the Sparrowhawk people chose us was because Master Gardeners, LGL, and Black Futures Farm all volunteered to send volunteers. So we're going to be meeting soon on the 17th and Linda will be there. And I'm doing things to help Linda so that we support her in things that she needs now, and then she can support us in Sparrowhawk. So I'm trying hard to make sure that she's included, and so she knows. Yes, so the answer, it's a big yes in answer to your question, Laura Lee. That's
well, my question was more like, she just seemed, I wasn't meaning, is she going to bring volunteers, thinking that she wasn't. I was just meaning that they were all having such a wonderful time, and there were so many people dedicated. I was just wondering how she got that many people together last year to volunteer.
Well, that's nice. It may be a little more difficult this year because of the date, because we moved it to the end of October, so it may be more difficult to get volunteers this time, which is another reason that I'm doing everything I can to support her. For example, we advertised their Master Gardeners plant sale to our email list recently, and then we're going to be publicizing their August something or other, early August open garden event that they're going to have. And so I'm going to be volunteering at the Master Gardener at their demo garden a couple hours a week. So I'm trying to signal to Linda that we'll support them in every way we can, and so I think that it'll be possible. We'll she'll be supplying volunteers even at the end of October. So Pam, yes.
Yeah, Laura Lee, in response to how she's probably able to recruit volunteers is Master Gardeners is a program through, as you probably know, through Oregon State University, and they have an online sign up that goes to all certified Master Gardeners in the Tri-County area. The difficulty is that the way OSU runs the Master Gardener program is they have a reporting period for mandatory volunteer hours that ends in early October. And so when I went out to the software to see whether our Sparrowhawk event was listed, it wasn't. And the reason for that is because it will be thrown into next year's reporting period for the Master Gardener program. All Master Gardeners have a requirement of volunteering 20 hours per year. So it's just, it's unfortunate that we have this late timeline, but I think it'll be helpful when we talk to Linda on the 17th to find out exactly, you know, how she's trying to recruit Master Gardeners for our event this year in late October.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys have been by there but it was so well organized, and there was just so many people there that I almost felt like I was in the way dropping off my buckets. I was like trying to scoot out of there really fast because they were moving so fast, bringing all these plants and just working. It was amazing.
Well, the staff at Sparrowhawk are the most extremely organized people I think I've ever met. So they'd asked me to come out to their spring event at Leach to observe exactly how they were setting up. And I mean, it was slick. It really is. They've, you know, got people scheduled to pick up at half-hour intervals. So, you know, really organized.
Okay, well, we'll just, we'll all do our best, and it's likely it'll be a success. And especially if, you know, if we can reach out to our friends and relatives and so on, and pull people in as well. Okay, well, we'll bring this up later, but this is, you know, July 6th, and we haven't had our kickoff meeting yet, but I just wanted to ask you all to please regard the end of October as a very special time when we need your help. Okay, so the next item is movies in the park. And the organizers, Kim Holt and Jarrell, I've forgotten his last name, at the parks level asked, you know, they said that we should, if we wanted, you know, seek out other tablers for the event, and we did that. Would you like to point out the people we've got, Gail?
Well, from your fabulous list that you have compiled, we have Master Gardeners and the Latino Network, Learning Gardens Lab, the NET Neighborhood Emergency Team, the Dougie Center, and Parks and Rec.
And so, yeah, and then we'll have
I'm hoping to hear from Malcolm at Black Futures Farm. And Rose, CDC doesn't do a whole lot of anything.
Yeah, I thought I'd ask them anyway.
Yeah, yes, I mean, they are in the neighborhood, but yeah, they don't. Yeah, and Impact Northwest, they don't either, unfortunately.
Yeah, I invited, I sent an invitation to the executive director and didn't hear back. And so then I
He's
sent,
not a very nice guy.
he wasn't interested, I guess. I tried an internal department, and I can't remember which one it was, and never heard back.
Yeah.
So they had their chance. And okay, so this is good though. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we should have 7 tables.
7, yeah.
Counting BDNAs.
Right.
And so it should be a nice, there should be a lot of information to disseminate to the people who show up.
Yeah.
So I think it's a nice showing.
Yeah.
it was a very interesting exercise to reach out and invite people. I learned it's much better to go one by one than with a mass invitation. Anyway, so Gail, where do we stand now? The band is under
We'll be there
contract
at
and paid.
6:30, starts at 7.
Okay,
Music starts at 7. We'll be done by 8, and then whenever dark hits, movie starts, which is hour-ish.
okay. And we're waiting to hear from Kim Holt and Jarrell told us that they would be sending out information to all the people who are tabling about where to put the tables and when
Yeah.
and so on. But I sent them the list twice and I haven't heard from them.
Yeah, I emailed her. She should have got it Monday, and she came back with, oh, yeah, the map. We're working on it.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
I said, we kind of need to know where to set up. In the
Yeah.
past, it was just, they get there at like 4.
Wait, say that again? What?
The Parks and Rec gets there about 4 or 4:30.
Oh, right, yeah.
But we would kind of like a little more information than showing up and finding out where we are when we get there. I'd like a little information earlier than that.
Right, we don't want to set up our tables and lay out all the literature and then have to move things,
Yes,
move the tent and all this.
yes.
Okay, well, all right, we're trying our best to organize
Yeah.
despite Parks and Rec. And we have a publicity plan in place. I'll be sending out posts to our email list and posting on the website and Facebook. And then I've got the flyers all sorted into folders, how many to take to Mary's, how many to take to Sawyer's, take them all over town. I don't think I'm going to have time to get the sandwich boards ready. They do not contribute as much to the to motivating people to come as the email list and the flyers. So
Right.
so we'll be sure to concentrate on those. If I can possibly get the sandwich boards done, I will. Otherwise, we'll save them up for the recycling event
Right.
that we'll do again in the spring. We hope. And I just looked at the Climate Prediction Center. There's 30 to 40% chance of above normal temperatures towards the end of July. So it's probably going to be warm
That'd be
again.
better than August.
Yes. Right.
I'm not having another event in August.
Oh, is that when last year's event was?
Yeah.
Oh, and Pam told me it was pretty hot.
And this was as early in July as I could get because I asked.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. I guess I didn't realize that. And thank you again for these fabulous flyers. I'm sorry that I don't have one to show here. I should have prepared that and I didn't. Okay, so what else have we got? Oh, the artisan market that's happening on July 15th is underway. The organizer of it helped us with the forms that we devised for future events. And let me she filled out we created a form that organizations like this one, impromptu informal organizations, can fill out to give to us to ask for insurance coverage. And so they need to give it to us at least 2 months in advance because it takes a while to fill out the application that goes to the insurance company and then get the certificate back. So you can see what the form looks like. It's got a name, and we asked for the name of the event and the event coordinator, contact information, description of the event, and do they need to use our name and seeking a permit from PBOT or Portland Parks and Rec or some other. And then how does their event support the purposes of the Brentwood Darlington Neighborhood Association? And they need to answer that. She said, well, we're showing local talent and we're fostering community. So this forum is designed to eliminate people that maybe we don't, or events that maybe we don't want to support, that do not support our purposes. So hopefully we'll be able to use it that way. And then we have an agreement. Once we have the insurance certificate in hand, then we can give it to the event coordinator, and that coordinator agrees to thank BDNA and Southeast Uplift for their support. So I wanted to show you something that, I'll get rid of that for a moment. I wanted to show you the flyer that one of their artisans, who will have a booth there, devised. It's very eye-catching, and I loved the fonts. And then they have this very nice thank you to us in partnership with Brentwood Darlington and Southeast Uplift. We're right in the middle there, so we get some nice billing. And so she absolutely, they met the terms of the little contract that they would acknowledge our support, which was providing insurance, and then our name as an affiliated organization that PBOT wanted. Okay.
Do
So
we
what do you
know
think
how
of this
they're
flyer? Pardon?
Excuse me, Stephanie, do we know how they're advertising this? Because I haven't heard anything except, through you.
I don't know how they're going to advertise it, but I told Emily Wright, the organizer, that we would post something to our email list for them. So I'm going to be doing that very shortly because their event is coming right up. In fact, I think I'm supposed to do it. Looks like I'm supposed to do it on tomorrow.
Yikes.
My note to myself, or else on Saturday, which is 1 week in advance of their, I think I have, okay, so I've got my notice to myself to do it on Saturday.
Wow.
So otherwise, yeah, I don't know what their advertising plan is. So you should receive a notice once I post it to the email list, except you don't ever receive those notices, right? Well, anyway, I thought their flyer was really cool. All right. Stop sharing. Okay. Now what? Okay, there was no board meeting in June, so of the Southeast Uplift Board, so we won't tackle that right now. Then I wanted to ask you what you thought about taking some time off for, excuse me, not meeting for 2 times in the remainder of this year, because we've now met 7 times in a row. We're required by our bylaws to meet 10 times a year. If we were to meet in August, skip September, and skip December, then we would meet our 10 meeting requirements. So I suggest that September and December doesn't have to be those months.
I like December. I liked skipping December just because of the holidays.
Okay, how about anybody else weighing in on 2023?
Yeah, we definitely don't do December meetings per usual, unless it's like a holiday cookie exchange. We've done that, but we generally don't do December meetings.
Right, I know that that's been the practice in the past. I did want to ask you, if you look down at 2025, Southeast Uplift skips January and July. Now then, I'm used to skipping December, but if we wanted to change, I just wanted to ask you, what do you think of having of skipping January and July? No, huh? Okay, no, that's fine. I'm not trying to push.
January, we'll discuss whatever movie we're gonna have in the summer, and July is usually when we have the movie.
Okay, Pam, you have your hand raised.
So
As I say selfishly.
the only other thought that I have is if we take September and December off, which I'm not opposed to, as you said, we need to meet 3 more times, which means we need quorum for August, October, and November. So we're down to 7 board members. We need 5 per our bylaws for quorum. Do we know if any of us can't make the August, October, or November meetings? Because that would have some bearing on this.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good.
So, would we take August off?
No.
No, okay.
No,
uh,
what I'm saying is
September.
Stephanie's proposing that we take September
September,
and
okay.
December, which means we have to meet in August, October, and November.
Mhm.
And I'm just polling, I guess, board
Mhm.
members to see if anyone present today knows that they will not be available in August, October, or November.
Well, and if we don't have quorum, that just means we can't approve anything, but doesn't mean we can't hold a meeting. Gail, you have your hand up?
What about November and December?
I
That
don't,
way, if we have to have a meeting in November, we could, but I still think December is,
wait. You want to skip December, right?
oh, yes,
Okay,
absolutely. I'll be up to here and making cards.
right. But I don't think we should go 2 months in a row without a meeting.
Oh, okay.
What
Okay,
do you, what do the rest of you think? Laura Lee?
I think that September and December is fine for this year, and moving forward, I'm with Gail. I definitely want to keep December as a month off, but I'm
Okay.
wondering about August and December. By the end of summer, I'm hot, I'm tired. It's been,
August, we used to meet at Malcolm's in his backyard. And that was pretty darn cool and awesome, but
Yeah, I like at least having one of the summer months off because it's so busy.
and August seems like, the summer's wrapping up, so we don't have to meet. I think it's important to meet in June and July for sure. But I don't know if it's super important to meet in August, but I'm still new to the board. Gail would have more
Totally.
information
I
about that.
second August and December.
Okay, and then adopt that going forward. That would be, we would not meet in August and December. We would skip those 2 months in 2024. Okay. All right, I mean, that's fine. So would somebody like to make a motion that we I mean, we could skip August. We could skip August this year.
Yeah, as long
We
as,
could go straight to the 2024.
yeah, as long as we give notice that we're not gonna be here. What is it, 2 weeks in advance? But this is way more than 2 weeks in advance, so. We can
And-
also tell everyone at the movies, don't come in August.
And
No,
also we have the Sparrowhawk in October, so
we need that,
it might be beneficial to meet in September.
yes,
since-
Right,
yes.
right. That's a good point. Well, then, shall we say that that we will not meet in August? We'll skip August and we will meet in September,
Yes,
and we will not meet in, okay, So we'll go straight to the 2024, skip August, skip December. All right, all right, Pam, do you want to weigh in on that? Does that sound good to you?
I think that's fine, Stephanie, unless you know of anything that needs to be approved in August by the board.
I can't, I mean, I had a speaker lined up, but she can go to September. And I think the net people want, where they were going to present in July and then they said August, but we can ask them to go to September. So there isn't anything that I can think of right now.
Because you had planned on bringing a draft budget and strategic plan to the board in August, but September's fine.
That's not going to happen. It might not even happen in September. So it's going to happen when I get it. I realized that I said that.
Yeah.
Have a draft for consideration at the August meeting. That was pretty
Ambitious.
ambitious. Yeah. So I'll aim for September. So the things that are highlighted in gold, that will be our meeting schedule then.
Okay.
All right. So is that something that we need to approve officially? Why not? Let's do that. Okay, I move that we adopt a meeting schedule in which we do not meet in August and December in each year, starting in the year that we're in, which is 2023. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Gail. All right, let me call the roll. Laura Lee,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Gail,
Aye.
and Stephanie, I. Okay, good. All right, very fine. Thank you very much. All right, so then we got that done. There were two matters that I wanted to bring up under other business. One is, well, there's no point in showing the agenda if we're just doing the other business, which isn't on the agenda. All right, I had an email from the Sun program, Impact Northwest Sun program at Whitman Elementary, saying, hello, I was hoping I could get some support from the BDNA for a couple of things. August 19, we have our Community Cares Day at Whitman. We could use some help with some last minute groundskeeping gardening before the school year begins. And also, we start our summer programming on July 10th for students who attend the Summer Accelerator program at Woodmere. I am writing to see if we can get some nutritious snacks donated for our program. We will be hosting 40 students for 4 weeks. So I'm bringing this to the board. We can advertise the community cares thing. That's not, I can reach out to this person, Nicole, and ask.
Well, this is a great way of getting rid of that $19.11 of restricted school snack funds being held in our fiscal sponsorship. So
Okay, it'd be nice to
just
eliminate that.
$19.11.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, if I create a post and go to the trouble of advertising their Community Cares Day, would somebody else buy the damn snacks and take
Why
them?
don't we just give them the money and then they can go buy it?
Okay, I can ask her that, but how much should we give her? I mean, not,
$19.11.
oh, come on.
How long is the program again? It's 40 kids for,
40 students for 4 weeks.
so that's, okay. A month. 166, so.
How much money do we have, like, Pam, to work with donating?
Well, we have a restricted fund. Someone donated some time ago. A donation that was specifically restricted to school snacks, and but I think it was transmitted through PayPal, and so when they subtracted the PayPal service fee, it was left with this odd amount of $19.11. So, it's just sort of cluttering up our treasurer's report. So that's why I was saying, aha, we finally found a way of getting rid of it.
Well,
We
suppose,
put that toward it, and then maybe how much else should we give? Is 250 a reasonable amount? Is that too much? Is that too little? I don't know.
It's too much.
Okay.
I think that's too much.
What about like $20 to $25 a week? Is that still too much?
How
For
about
4 weeks, that would be $100.
$11.
Well, so how about $100?
And $19.11.
Well, or 100 minus, whatever 100 minus 1911 is.
I
Well,
like
but-
how you think. I
Well,
like-
we can just pledge $100 if that's what the board's inclined to do, and $19.11 of that 100 will come out of our account at Southeast Uplift, and the balance will come out of our Advantage checking account.
I like it.
Okay,
I agree.
all right, well, yeah, I think they can buy their own snacks. I mean,
They know where to shop and they know what they need.
Right.
They know what the kids like. So I think it'd be better for them to do the shopping if they're willing, if we just donate money for them.
okay. Well, I can write a check to them. I can call this Nicole Williams and ask her how a check should be made out. And I'll talk to her about the community cares thing, and I don't mind running it over to Whitman because it's just down the street. So, all right, so let's, would someone make a motion to spend $100 on the Sun community?
I motion to spend $119.11.
$100 total.
$100.
$100 total.
Oh, I thought we were getting rid of the 1911.
No,
We
it's
are,
okay.
1911.
Oh,
will be
just in the
part of
100.
budget.
Oh, okay. Pam, I'll let you make the motion then. This is
All right.
your baby.
Yeah, I move that we authorize a donation of $100 total to the Whitman Sun School Program for the purchase of school snacks. And $19.11 of that donation will come from Southeast Uplift's fiscal sponsorship account, and the balance will come from our Advantage checking account.
Okay, so I want to modify that just a teeny bit in the sense that this woman, Nicole, says she's writing from the Sun program, but she's saying the snacks are for students who attend the Summer Accelerator program at Woodmere, but I think that's still part of Sun, so never mind, forget it. Sun is good enough, yeah, okay. Thank you, Pam. Do we have a second?
Second.
Pam, you're our professional seconder, Gail.
I don't even try anymore.
That's what I
You
do.
can-
Give me
We
either.
can count on you.
So Stephanie, if you're calling for a discussion, I have one further comment about
Please.
the logistics. I think since Southeast Uplift is really a stickler for us demonstrating that it falls within the restricted guidelines, rather than you writing a check, it would be better if they sent the receipts to us and that we reimburse them.
Oh, fine, that hadn't occurred to me. That's a really good idea.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
Then we know exactly how it was spent and can demonstrate that to Southeast Uplift's bookkeeper.
Oh, that's
They will like that.
that is superior, yeah, because we have talked about trying to keep really good track of how we spend our money, and that's a wonderful idea. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Stephanie, when you talk to her, can you gauge if they are, in a bad position for like needing snacks for the school? Because, I could privately donate some snacks too. Like,
Okay,
I don't know what their financial situation is or any of that.
The Sun School, they don't have any.
Where does the funding for Sun come from, Pam?
Supposedly, Portland Public Schools, but their budget is tiny.
Is it Portland Public Schools or is it Parks and Rec?
No, I think it could be both or either.
Hmm.
I thought
Historically, it was a joint
public.
program. I don't know how it's currently run.
So Impact Northwest itself doesn't have any snack money?
I think the SUN acronym was Schools Uniting Neighborhoods.
Yes.
Mhm.
I know that they work with Parks and Rec,
Mhm.
but I don't know if they work for Parks and Rec.
Well,
Yeah,
Stephanie,
I seem to remember that we used to hire, when I was working for Parks and Rec, we used to interview and hire people for the Sun schools in the summer.
Right.
So, but that's about as far as my memory will go.
My favorite Sun school director went to work at a park near his house, and I was very, very upset with him.
but Stephanie, I think you raise a good point, and I'm trying to remember, does Impact Northwest, are they the contractor for the Whitman Sun program? And, if so, when you talk to this woman, you might ask, have they also solicited donations from Impact Northwest, because they're getting paid to run this program? We're not.
Okay, I will try to find out. And now if we send, yeah, because I think that's a good question too. Now, if we ask them to submit receipts, it's going to be impossible for them to submit receipts for exactly $100, right? How do we handle that? Or do we say that whatever receipts they give us, we will give $100?
Yes, the latter.
Okay. All right, fine. All right, I will let her know. And okay, so we'll advertise the Community Cares Day, and I'll find out more information about what that means. And then I will put in writing that we will give her reimbursement of $100 in return for receipts. And I will find out, I'll try to find out how badly funded they are and how badly they need snacks, and whether Impact Northwest has.
I mean, if we really wanted to be, strategic about this, I guess we would say that our donation is contingent upon a 2-for-1 match by Impact Northwest. Really drive Effie around the bend. That was a joke. I'm
I
sorry.
like that. Yes, I wish we could do that. Unfortunately, better not. But yes, I like that.
Are we still voting on this, or did the vote?
Oh yeah, we haven't voted. Okay, we got a second. I thank you, Laura Lee, for calling me back to reality here. All right, let's just take the roll call. $100 in return for receipts. Laura Lee,
Aye.
Kim,
Aye.
Pam,
Aye.
Gail,
Aye.
Stephanie, aye. All right, good. Okay, one last thing and then we can go. I was looking at the bylaws the other day and I realized there's something that we haven't been doing, at least ever since I've been part of the BDNA, and that is that our bylaws allow other people besides board members and chairs to propose items for inclusion in our agenda. And this can be done ahead of a meeting if they get the budget, the agenda items to us in time for the board to approve an agenda that contains those items, or they can do it at a meeting. But again, the board must approve inclusion of any item in the budget. I mean, in the agenda, sorry, I've got money on my mind. So we should start doing this, and I will advertise it when we start for our next meeting, whatever that is, September. Thank you. And invite the public at large to feel free to come to the meeting and propose agenda items for consideration. I'll make it really clear that that the board has to approve all agenda items. You can't just suggest anything. So we will we'll begin doing that so that we're in compliance with our bylaws. And then there's a participation aspect too, that it says participation, any meeting is open to any person and all who may wish to be heard regarding any item on the agenda. Fine, but only members of the association will be eligible to vote. Which brings up the fact that we don't have a membership list. I'd like at the next meeting to talk about how we can start pulling this list of association members together, because right now we don't have that. And we do need to do that. So that'll be for the September meeting. And we'll try to get going. We'll try to get going on that. But that's been a problem for a long time, and we're going to need to solve that. Otherwise, I mean, we can declare members on the spot. You know, if somebody lives there, we can say that they're a member, and then they're allowed to vote. But it's not clear from the bylaws either what they're allowed to vote on. And one section says they may vote to elect members to the board, and they may vote to dissolve the association. And there's some other third thing that of great weight. But as far as voting on agenda items, that's not clear to me. That this participation paragraph seems to imply that members can vote on agenda items, but I don't think that that's so. But I'll have to. I'm going to ask Pam to take a look at these things and try to clarify them. These bylaws are sometimes difficult to deal with, but for sure we'll make sure that people know that they can suggest items for consideration to be included in the agenda.
Yes,
Little
Stephanie,
by little. I beg your pardon. Go ahead.
a heads up, Lauralee, I think in the job description that Southeast Uplift has posted for secretary, the secretary is responsible for maintaining this membership list. So, you know, we have to figure out a process for doing that, but one more thing.
Right. Well, we may just tackle it meeting by meeting. Whoever shows up and is clearly, you know, Brentwood Darlington resident or a business owner or whatever.
I
Then
think
we
that
add
it was
that.
a little bit easier. Sometimes I feel like the descriptions of the jobs are more geared towards when meetings were in person, because it's easier to gather that information when you have sign-in sheets.
Mhm.
But I think it's become a very gray area. I might be wrong about that, but getting membership lists together, because I'm just desperately trying to grab people's names when I see them pop up. But if they don't put the information in the chat, or like Gail had just put in there that what is it, name, address, we need to gather that information, but it feels a little imposing to do that during a video meeting. So I don't know where the balance for that is. Maybe I can reach out to Southeast Uplift and ask them.
Okay, if you would, we'll work out something that's doable. It has to be, otherwise we can't do it. So Gail, you had your hand raised.
In September, when we meet again, we can do a sign-in the chat. Everybody signs name, address, phone number, email, like you would sign in at a live meeting. We're just gonna sign in virtually. That way we would have the information. I asked, could we do that?
I don't see why not. And we don't have that many visitors, so it's
Yeah.
not as though we're asking 20 people to sign in. And if they've signed in before, they don't have to do it again.
But don't we keep the information on the chat?
The information on the chat, I think, is saved, but when you had the sign-in sheet when you were in person, Was there a checkbox that said, are you interested in membership or not? I mean, just because they're attending doesn't mean they're a member. So, and I think that's where the gray area comes in for us is it was so much easier putting a clipboard in front of somebody saying your name, address, information, and check this box if you want to be a member.
Yeah,
And if they check it, they're a member, but we don't really have that. Let me ponder on
yeah,
that
I
a
can
little
only
bit.
offer virtually signing in the chat. That's the only thing I can
Yeah.
think of.
Yeah,
It's getting late in the
Yes.
day for, an in-depth discussion, but the one additional thought that I had that maybe we can discuss in September is that we have an extensive mailing list, Stephanie. I think that you send blasts out to, and if we had some sort of concise statement in there about, the bylaws requirement and the privileges of membership, and then, ask in that next blast for them to indicate if they're interested in membership, and then we would capture the information through that form. And then Laura, hopefully you can maintain that list going forward. So that's my thought.
Here's making a note here.
I move we're done.
okay, good night,
Okay.
everyone.
Yes, I move we're done too, I think.
Sure.
Thank you, everybody. You always hang in as long as necessary. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, go and have a wonderful weekend. And we'll
The 21st.
see you in the 21st. Yeah, but I'll be in touch with you all, and I will let you know about my conversation with the Sun community person. Okay, good night. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Oops.